Hi, how are you, etc. So, modern day. Isn't it wonderful? The time where, as I've proved over and over again, the reason why people are getting crazier and dumber is because there's less and less things to do in the real world, and the real world is becoming absolute dog shit, so everybody is staying in their homes all day and on social media doing absolutely fucking nothing. No, COVID is not the reason for that. And, yeah, it's just making people into psychopaths in many other ways. Now, women in general have always loved serial killers. I don't know why. What is the deal? I remember one time I actually asked one of my female friends, like, what is the deal with liking serial killers? And she said something like, "Oh, it's like relaxing and interesting to watch those documentaries." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." But like all women, and it's not, I'm not even talking about young women. Like even my mom, I grew up all through my teenagehood and stuff, my mom was always watching like crime documentaries and 60 Minutes and all those like crime shows. Or like, what is with women loving these things? It's so fucking weird and scary. Um, but in the modern version of this is the obsession over Jeffrey Dahmer. You people are sick. I mean, what is going on? First of all, let's talk about people, and then we'll talk about Netflix, and then we'll talk about this article. People are obsessing over Jeffrey Dahmer. It's a little weird. It honestly makes me wonder if the show on Netflix is the first time that people even heard about him. Newsflash. He's long since dead, okay? His crimes were way back in the 90s. And he's a real person. Like, for those of you who are like, oh, I love the show and all this, he was a real person, an actual human being. I know it's a show and not a documentary, which is what it should have been, but he is a real human being who actually did what, the show is showing. He was real. And people like obsessing over him. Like you may notice if you go online, there's bitches like this. For example, on TikTok, there's actually a bunch of weird like trends and stuff of people talking about how they love, they feel bad for him. People feel bad for Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. What? What about Ted Bundy? Do you have wet dreams about Ted Bundy? What the fuck? He is not a likable, fictional serial killer like Dexter. This is real shit. And by the way, some of the victims' families are still alive and are seeing what you're doing, and it's fucking so uncomfortable. Bye, Hugo. I know it's awful. Oh my god. And videos like this on TikTok are actually there's just look freaking everyone when everyone is freaking out about how morbid, in quotes morbid, the new Dahmer show is, and you're just bummed they didn't show the actual morbid parts. This girl, granted her video is taken down. I don't know if she took it down or not, but this particular girl you're seeing in the video, she has Jeffrey Dahmer earrings. Jeffrey Dahmer earrings. And the earrings aren't even of the actor from the show. The earrings are of the real Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. Um, Again, these videos are mirrored from her original videos, but she has other things like, I don't know if they show it here, but she also has a wallet. Yeah, there it is. She has like a wallet purse of like multiple different serial killers. And these videos are all over TikTok. People like saying, "Oh, I feel bad for him for some reason," or wearing clothing and earrings and jewelry. There's trends on TikTok talking about how the show isn't morbid enough. Oh, I'm sorry. Did they not reenact the murders and the cannibalism for you? Oh, I'm so sorry, you psychopath. Oh my god. Or how about this? Like, there is literally people dressing up as Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween. Halloween costumes of Jeffrey Dahmer. How about this? Because of the Netflix show, his real life glasses were being sold for $150,000. What is wrong with you people? What the fuck is wrong with you people? Let me tell you something. This show should have never existed. Now, I am not even close to an SJW. I would never say that I'm offended by the show, she'll take it down. Never. But what I do feel empathy for are the victims' families who are still alive and we're traumatized by the show's existence. Oh, and by the way, fuck Netflix, by the way. Fuck Netflix. Okay? First Cuties, and now this. I honestly don't understand why Netflix is still around. I know they're dying. They are massively dying when compared to Disney Plus or Amazon Prime. And I do believe, I'll predict, that by the end of 2023, Netflix won't even exist anymore. That's my prediction. But how they're even alive now is mind-blowing. It's like people just keep forgiving what they do. Oh, and by the way, I have to go back. My mind's a little fucked up here, so I have to go back to this. You gotta love how videos like this, that are like idolizing Jeffrey Dahmer, those videos are okay. They stay up on TikTok. But I uploaded a video on TikTok showing the truth about male domestic abuse, and the video got banned 6 times. Showing male domestic abuse? Delete that. We can't have facts on here. Only women get abused, and only those videos may stay up. But videos about a serial killer? Oh, that's okay. What's the big deal? It's just a serial killer. Fucking idiots. Honestly, anyway. My brother was murdered by Jeffrey Dahmer. Here's what it was like watching the show that recreated the emotional state I gave in court. So this is the real woman, okay? This is the real fucking woman, and she was reenacted in the show. It's disgusting. This is an as told to essay based and a conversation with Rita Isbell, the sister of Errol Lindsay, one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims. Isbell's emotional victim impact statement delivered in court in 1992. When I found out I could read a victim impact statement, I knew I was going to let Jeffrey Dahmer have it. I just didn't know what I was going to say. I hadn't written anything down. If I had, I would have torn it up anyway. I wouldn't have gotten read. That was my first time ever being in front of him. Whatever I thought I was going to say, that didn't happen. It all just came out in the moment, obviously. My plans were to get up there and say how it made my mother feel when and what I did to her and all this other stuff. But no, when I got in front of his face, it was a whole new ballgame. I recognized evil. I was face to face with pure evil. I wasn't scared. That's not me at all. I have never had a scared bone in my body. I believe he knew that too, and that I was angry because he wouldn't look at me. The reason why I said what I said during the impact statement was because during the trial they were portraying him as being so out of control he couldn't stop himself. But you have to be in control in order to do the things that he was doing. You have to very much be in control. I mean, Jesus Christ, thank God Dahmer didn't get a insanity plea, right? Because then he would have been found not necessarily innocent, but you know what happens with insanity pleas. So that's why I said, let me show you what out of control is. This is out of control. I was out of body. I wasn't myself in that moment. Whatever I had on the inside, I let it out. It didn't hold it in, and later said, oh, I wish I had said or done this when I had the opportunity to. And I think I was speaking for a lot of the other family members of the victims. The officers that pulled me away were really nice to me. They asked me if I needed water. I told them I had a headache, and they offered me painkillers. They were understanding. And then right after that, we went outside the courtroom, and there were all these news people rushing me. I didn't even have time to get it together. So again, this is the real woman over here, and this is what was shown on Netflix. This woman is still alive. Imagine seeing yourself as a victim in your most vulnerable state and damaging and traumatizing state of your entire life, and seeing yourself put on fucking Netflix without your permission. Fuck you, Netflix. You are absolute dog shit. The kind of lengths you will go just to get a show that will get attention. Disgusting. I don't need to watch it. I lived it. When I saw some of the show, it bothered me. No shit. Especially when I saw myself. When I saw my name come across the screen and this lady saying verbatim exactly what I said. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought it was me. Her hair was like mine. She had on the same clothes. That's why I felt like reliving it all over again. Netflix is scum. It brought back all the emotions I was feeling back then. I was never contacted about the show. I feel like Netflix should have asked if we mind or how we felt about making it. Yeah, no shit! They didn't ask me anything. They just did it. But I'm not money hungry, and that's what the show was about. Netflix trying to get paid. Well, yeah, because, for God's sakes, the goddamn streaming service is almost bankrupt. They would honestly kill a puppy if it meant that some people would renew their Netflix subscriptions. I could even understand it if they gave some of the money to the victims' children, which they didn't do either, by the way. Not necessarily their families. I mean, I'm old. I'm very, very comfortable, but the victims have children and grandchildren. If the show benefited them in some way, it wouldn't be so harsh and careless. Yeah, but we're talking about Netflix here. It's sad that they're just making money off of this tragedy. That's just greed. The episode with me was the only part I saw. I didn't watch the whole show. I don't need to watch it. I lived it. I know exactly what happened. The anger struck with me for a long time. I didn't have the wisdom back then that I have now, but I had to make this stuff make sense and deal with it. I had younger children to provide for and to protect. I still had to go to work every day. As time goes by, I can handle just about anything. I still have a life. Still have my health. I have grandchildren, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. It's something that over the years I had come to terms with. Now I can talk about anything. I don't want to walk away from answers, questions, my opinions, how I feel, any of that stuff, especially if I can help. If what I say can help somebody else, even myself, then yes. The show bringing up old feelings did hurt, but it also benefits me. I benefit from it because I can deal with it differently today than I did in the past. I can talk about it with not as much anger. That's all good and everything, but Netflix is still scum for doing it. I'm still learning how to forgive, even if I don't understand, and keep on with my life. I can't change other people or things that have happened. I can only change myself. Arrow's always going to be alive in my spirit, and then his daughter. I have to keep him alive so I can talk about him to her. The positive thing to come out of this is that the world didn't know that my brother had any children. That has never been discussed to the public, but he had gotten someone pregnant before his death. Today, she's 31, and this happened 31 years ago. It's not about me anymore, it's about her. So when they mention my name, I'm going to always refer to her, Tatiana Banks, Errol Lindsay's daughter, and now he even has a granddaughter too. When I think of my brother, I think of how he was such a goofball, and I think he's going to appreciate the fact that I'm still standing for him until my last breath. He knows that I'm still here for him. If you have watched this show and you like it, rethink your fucking choices, you idiot. I'm not saying that the show is bad in terms of like acting and storytelling and all that kind of shit, but have some morals for the victims' families. For Netflix doing this without a care in the world, plus Netflix's past history, if you know what I'm talking about. Honestly, I really think this show should be boycotted. I hate sounding like an SJW, but I don't think I'm actually being one, because I'm not saying the show's offensive. Like, it's offensive to the families, but not offensive in a literal sense. You know what I mean? Like, SJWs would say, like, oh, this show doesn't have enough black people in it. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of shit. It's not offensive in that sense. I feel offended, sure, for the victims' families, because this is a serial killer, a real-life serial killer. If they made this into a documentary, that would be so much more acceptable. But making it into a show that people idolized, made them money, and didn't give a fuck about the victims' families, I don't think that's SJW at all. I think that's reasonable.